Imagine a world where your digital defenses are as adaptive and vigilant as the most seasoned cybersecurity expert, tirelessly watching over your systems day and night. Well, you no longer need to imagine, as generative AI is already making our online interactions safer and more secure. Generative AI offers transformative potential in cybersecurity, particularly in detecting and mitigating password attack attempts. It employs sophisticated algorithms to analyze vast amounts of log data, identifying patterns indicative of malicious activity. By automating the detection process, generative AI not only enhances the accuracy of threat identification, but also significantly reduces the time required for security analysts to respond to potential breaches. In this video, you'll learn about the practical implementation of generative AI in cybersecurity, explore how it can detect credential stuffing attacks, and some of the benefits and challenges it brings. First, let's examine generative AI and password attacks. In cybersecurity, generative AI models can simulate various attack scenarios, helping to anticipate and detect real-world threats. Password attacks, including brute force attacks, dictionary attacks, and credential stuffing, exploit weak or reused passwords to gain unauthorized access to systems. Detecting these attacks involves analyzing log data to identify anomalies such as repeated login attempts, unusual login times, and access from unfamiliar locations. The core advantage of using generative AI in log analysis is its ability to process and interpret large data sets quickly and accurately. Traditional log analysis methods rely heavily on manual inspection and predefined rules, which can be time-consuming and prone to human error. Generative AI models, on the other hand, learn from historical data, continuously improving their ability to recognize patterns associated with password attacks. For example, a generative AI model can be trained on logs from a network's authentication systems. It can then identify subtle deviations from normal behavior that might indicate an attack, such as a surge in failed login attempts or the use of previously unseen IP addresses. By automating this process, generative AI accelerates the detection of password attacks and enhances the overall robustness of cybersecurity measures. We briefly touched upon credential stuffing attacks. Now it's time to take a deep dive to learn more. Credential stuffing attacks involve using stolen username-password pairs from breaches to gain access to accounts on different platforms. Generative AI effectively detects such attacks by analyzing login attempt patterns. For example, a financial institution used a generative AI-based system to monitor millions of login attempts daily, identifying suspicious activities like multiple login attempts from the same IP address across different accounts. By correlating these anomalies with known credential stuffing patterns, the system prevented unauthorized access to customer accounts. Logs of these attacks typically show multiple failed login attempts, repeated attempts from a single IP address, and the use of known breached credentials. The uses for generative AI in cybersecurity are many, but it's important to recognize both the benefits and challenges it creates. Let's begin with the benefits. The first key benefit is enhanced accuracy. Generative AI models improve detection by learning from vast data sets and identifying subtle patterns that traditional methods might miss. Additionally, automated analysis enables real-time detection and response, reducing the window of opportunity for attackers. It also provides scalability, as it can handle large volumes of log data, making it suitable for organizations of all sizes. Earlier, you touched on brute force attacks. Now it's time to take a deep dive and learn more. Brute force attacks involve systematically trying all possible combinations of passwords to gain access to accounts. Generative AI effectively detects such attacks by analyzing login attempt patterns. For example, a financial institution used a generative AI-based system to monitor millions of login attempts daily, identifying suspicious activities, like an unusually high number of failed login attempts from the same IP address on a single account. By correlating these anomalies with known brute force patterns, the system prevented unauthorized access to customer accounts. Logs of these attacks typically show a high volume of failed login attempts, repeated attempts from a single IP address, and the use of various combinations of characters as passwords. Now, let's ask Copilot if there's any indication of an attack in the logs we gathered earlier. In this example, Copilot responded that based on the logs you provided, it appears that there are repeated failed login attempts from the same IP address using different usernames. This could potentially be a sign of a brute force attack. Next, let's filter the logs for a more precise output. Ask Copilot to refine the log file displaying suspicious entry logs only. Now, you should be able to review the output from Copilot, which includes all the suspicious activities relating to the failed login from the same IP address. Next, you can ask Copilot to suggest some mitigation actions. What steps can I take to secure my server? Copilot will provide some recommendations. For example, enhance server security, maintain up-to-date operating systems and software with regular patches, enforce strong, unique passwords, and limit login attempts to prevent brute force attacks. However, there are also some challenges to consider. Ensuring the privacy of sensitive log data is crucial when training AI models, requiring techniques such as data anonymization and encryption. Developing and maintaining sophisticated AI models requires significant expertise and resources, with organizations having to invest in training and infrastructure. And finally, generative AI enhances detection capabilities, but can also generate false positives, requiring continuous refinement and analyst feedback to balance detection accuracy. You can now see that in today's cybersecurity landscape, generative AI is the unsung hero, a powerful ally against the ever-present threat of attacks. From identifying suspicious patterns in a sea of log data to thwarting credential stuffing attempts with unmatched precision, this technological marvel is revolutionizing how we safeguard our digital assets. In this video, you learned that organizations can enhance their security posture, reduce response times, and mitigate the risk of unauthorized access by leveraging generative AI's ability to learn from historical data and identify complex patterns. As the threat landscape continues to evolve, generative AI will play an increasingly vital role in cybersecurity and ensuring the integrity of critical systems.